Do you feel like you want something more for your life, but honestly don't know where the time would come from? In this episode, we're talking about how to make space for your dreams without completely rearranging your life. If you're tired of feeling stuck in life and doubting yourself and want simple steps to stop overthinking, gain clarity, and start living your dream, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Sarah Tyke, a midlife mom, chronic overthinker, and your dream activator. I learned the secret of how to overcome self doubt and stop overthinking. Take small, practical steps to create the life you dream of. If you're ready to see the possibilities, transform your mindset, and take the first step forward, grab a pen and a journal and meet me in the Dream Lab. Hi, welcome back to Reinventing Life After 40. I'm your host, Sarah Tyke. I just want to remind you guys that we have a Facebook group that you can join. It's called Goal Setting for Overthinkers. If you search on Facebook groups, you can either search for that name, Goal Setting for Overthinkers, or you can go to Facebook, I don't know, it's .com/group/reinventing life after 40. You can join up there. It's just a nice place to kind of get together, get to know each other, um, help each other, support each other, give encouragement, suggestions, all that fun stuff. There's also a weekly newsletter that you can sign up for. Again, I'll be sending out just goal setting tips, some encouragement. If I have any freebies like journals or checklists, if there's something that you guys want to see that I can create for you, I would be happy to do that if you let me know. All that will go out in the newsletter. You can get early access to special offers, discounts, all that stuff when I get everything set up. So you can sign up for that newsletter at sarahtyke.com/newsletter. And I'll have links for these in the episode show notes. And you can also go to the website sarahtyke.com and find links for both the Facebook group and the newsletter on that homepage. So today we are talking about how to make time to work on your dream. Very often we feel like we're too busy to make changes. And we think that we need to have these large blocks of time. Like, I just don't have time to sit down for 3 hours and work on something. So we keep putting our dreams on hold. Someday I'll get to it. Someday, when the kids are in school or when they're out of school or, when I'm retired, I don't know. You just keep waiting and waiting until you have more time to do something. But if you keep waiting for that someday I'll have time, someday I'll have enough money, you'll probably be waiting forever because that someday will never come. You're just going to keep waiting. And honestly, I think it's, if I may be blunt, you're just making excuses because it's easier. We've talked about this in a previous episode where it's easier to just keep saying, oh, I'm thinking about it. I just need more time. I need to have more money before I start. I need to have more. I need to have something else. I need to have something that I don't have now before I can even start. And then you just keep putting things off and you never actually do anything. But again, you get to tell yourself that you're thinking about it and you're just waiting and it's going to happen at some point when I'm ready. So you get to kind of feel good about telling yourself that, but you never actually do anything and you just stay stuck. So if you're waiting for someday when you have more time, I'm guessing you'll probably be waiting forever. And there's no point in doing that because you don't need a bunch of time. You can do small increments. You can always do something. And the key here is to actually do the something. Like God had told Moses in Exodus 14:15, the Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward." So at this point, Moses has already prayed to God. He's been asking him for direction. What do I do? And eventually God says, "Why are you still crying out to me? I've told you, tell the Israelites to go forward, to do something. Take that action. Move forward. You've prayed enough. You've asked me enough. You've consulted me enough. It's time to move." So you do have to at some point say, I've thought about it enough. I have to do something. And it doesn't have to be a big something. So we all have, I think, challenges balancing work, being a parent. You have responsibilities to your family, friends, community, whatever it is you're involved in. And you have to balance these things and you're tired and you want to change your career, but because of all these other responsibilities and things, you feel like you just don't have time. And I've been in that situation. I'm still kind of in that situation because I still am working a full-time job. But at some point I had to say, I can't do just that. I need to start working towards something else. I can't just quit the job, but I can't just keep saying I'm going to do something someday. So I started working on this podcast, and I just do little increments. Now, I do typically on my days off have to get up earlier instead of sleeping in. I still get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I do a couple hours of work before I have to start getting into the day and taking care of the household and doing all the responsibilities that we all have. But I do have to make that time. And it's just, if I'm going to do anything, I do have to make an effort to set aside time in the morning. Now, whenever that might be for you, maybe it's after bed or before bed when all the kids are asleep. Maybe you take a half an hour for yourself to work on your dream. It is going to take effort. You are going to have to make a sacrifice, whether it's maybe staying up a little bit later, getting up a little bit earlier. But we'll talk about a few other places where you can probably work in some time to work on your dream. But it is a balancing act, and you may have to, make some sacrifices here and there. Like I said, I get up early to do it because that's when I have the time, but it's totally worth it. So I had to stop basically asking myself, how do I completely change my life? How do I just quit my job and start something new, right away? Because it just isn't going to happen. I do want my own business, and that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy. And I can't just, quit what I'm doing and jump into something new. I mean, other people I think can. I've known people who've just quit their day job just to start their own thing right away, and that's great. That's not me though. I need plans. I do need to have some sort of safety net. So I had to kind of stop thinking about making a huge change like that. Like, you don't have to just upend everything to be able to start working on your dream. So I start thinking about what small change can I make time for, like every day? Where can I get in just 10 or 15 minutes every day to make progress on whatever my dream goal is? So eventually, yeah, I would like to have my own business, but I can do things now to prepare. I don't have to just quit and then go find like a brick and mortar store to open and buy all the equipment and inventory and hire employees and have all that done. Like, I don't have to go that route. It doesn't have to be all or nothing like that. So now I can start researching what would be a good business. What is in demand? What do people want? What do I have to offer? Do I even need a brick and mortar store? Probably not. Nowadays, a lot of things are done online. So maybe an online business is the way to go. And then what do I need? I can start looking at business courses. What kind of, are there accounting courses? Are there bookkeeping courses? Are there business management courses that I could take online? There are actually a lot of free online courses that you can take to help with these things. And if they're paid, like if I actually need to go and try to get some sort of a certification or a degree, I can start researching how much does it cost, and then looking at ways for saving up to pay for that course. So there are certain things I know at some point, if I have a business, I would need to have a business-only bank account. So I could start looking into opening a special account for my business. And then, there's just various things that you can research just to do little things. So I can take 10 minutes and research, what do I need to start a business? And then the next day I can maybe take one of those things. What can I do right now? Can I set up a bank account? Can I start filing for an LLC? Can I start, a website to kind of figure out if I'm going to sell something online? Start looking at what's the best online selling platform. So there's little things that you can do to keep getting you further and further. And the more you learn about something, the more confidence you'll get, and you'll just keep working toward it. So some other examples, if you are wanting to write a book or cookbook, picture book, photo journal book, whatever it is, you can work on that for 15 minutes. Do some writing for 15 minutes. You don't have to write an entire chapter, or just come up with a title for the chapter or a title for the book. It doesn't even have to be in order. I know when I've tried to work on books, a lot of times I would have a really good idea for either the ending of it or just something that would happen, like a scene. So write that down, and you can piece it all together later. You can spend 10 or 15 minutes just researching ideas for whatever it is that, your dream idea or your dream life is. Just research some stuff, get some information, and try to work in these like small pockets of time, like 10 or 15 minutes. You can go for a 15-minute walk or 10 minutes. You can listen to a podcast about whatever it is that your dream topic is while you're walking or while you're driving to work. And I promise you that whatever it is that your dream is, there is a podcast out there or a YouTube video about it. So you can just go and search for a podcast about how to write a book, how to start a garden, how to start a homeschool, how to lose weight, whatever it is. And you can listen to that while you're driving to work or while you are walking or cleaning the house or doing whatever it is you're doing. So you can always be in that energy of your dream life. While you're reading articles or comments or you're scrolling online, kind of wasting time, if I may say, stand up and march in place while you're doing it. Because I like to read articles and read through the comments. I don't know why I read the comments. I still can't figure that part out. Because it's just an energy drain and it sucks you in. But if you're going to do it, maybe get up and either pace around the house, march in place, get on a treadmill. So now you're getting in some exercise while you are doing your online scrolling. You can exercise while you're watching TV. You can just, again, pace around the room. You can do some crunches, push-ups on the floor, any body weight exercise you can do while you're watching TV. During a commercial break, just get up and do some squats. Doesn't have to be a lot. I'm not asking you to, get out all the weights and get dressed out to go to do a full-on sweaty workout. Just when a commercial break comes on, stand up, do a couple squats, walk around the room. That's exercise. That's helping. And you're just going to work it into your day in little amounts. And those little amounts do add up. So we've talked in the past about having like this 10-minute action window that ideally you would do every single day. Like take 10 minutes from your day, but at least once per week, find a 10-minute window when you can work on your dream life. And I think 15 would probably be a better amount. I like it just because 15 minutes, there's a walking program that I do where their 1 mile workouts take 15 minutes. So I kind of like 15 minutes as just a kind of a nice round number to use. And I know that you have 10 or 15 minutes per week to work on your dream. If you don't think you have 10 minutes per week, contact me and I will help you work it out. I'll help you find 10 minutes per week because I know you have it. We all have it somewhere. If you can do it per day, that would be ideal. Because the more repetition you have, the more you get in the pattern of working at it, the more success you will see. And treat this 10 or 15 minutes like a doctor's appointment. Because we rearrange our entire schedule to keep doctor's appointments or dentist appointments. Like, God forbid we have to cancel or reschedule. Like, you almost can't. Like, you have the appointment and you take time off of work, you rearrange your schedule, you do all the things to keep this doctor's appointment. This 10 or 15 minutes that we're talking about, this is how you're going to build your dream life. You are definitely worth the commitment to schedule a 15-minute appointment that you keep no matter what, at least every week. Again, ideally every day. And it's not just me telling you that you're worth it. Okay, God says that you are worth it. He's numbered the hairs on your head, and He knew you before you were in your mother's womb. He wants you to be successful. He wants you to be prosperous. And you can find 10 or 15 minutes per week to work toward this dream life that is going to make you light up, that is going to make you fulfill your purpose that God has for you. So make this appointment and keep it as if it was your doctor's appointment. Set an alarm or an appointment reminder on your calendar so that you are reminded that you have to do this, either the day before, an hour before, whatever it takes. You can even set a timer for the 10-minute window. If you're afraid that, I might, what if I waste too much time or something because I have all these other things to do? Set a timer, and at 10 minutes, that's it. Timer goes off, you're done. Go on the rest of your day. And then once you do it, congratulate yourself because you took that small, focused, God-led step forward to creating your dream life. And you're going to feel so good after doing it once that you're going to want to do it again the next day, and the next day. And hopefully if you're starting out weekly, then you'll say, like, hey, I want to do this more than once a week. I want to do it twice a week or 3 times. And then eventually you'll get to every day, 10 or 15 minutes working on your dream life. And you're going to feel so good and so productive that you're just going to, those appointments will be necessary for you. And that is how you're going to see success. So a lot of times I think maybe we have in our minds that taking small steps isn't really worth it. Like if I'm not just doing something big and dramatic, then it's just not going to mean anything. Well, Scripture tells us differently. And I think it's important to study these scriptures because thinking that you don't have enough time or enough money or whatever else you think you need, that should not be what stops you from living your purpose. Because God works with small beginnings and small things all the time. So one of my favorites is Zecharia 4:10, and this is the New Living Translation. Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. So he wants to see you start, and he'll help you along the way. Once you start working on it, and once you start seeking his counsel, he will help you, he will guide you. And it doesn't matter. He doesn't want you to do something big. You don't need to be quitting your job and just opening a brick and mortar store and having, 10 employees and all of like an established business. That's just not how it's going to happen. And the Lord doesn't care about that. He just wants you to start. In Matthew 13:31 through 32, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which is indeed the least of all the seeds. But when it is grown, it is greater than the herbs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and nest in its branches. So this is Jesus giving the parable of the mustard seed, where you have this very, very small seed. But if you plant it and you let it grow and you nurture it, it grows into a huge tree. So you can have a small beginning to your dream life, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. And if you keep doing it, you keep nurturing it, it will grow and grow and grow into a huge, prosperous tree. And then we have the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. In verse 21, his Lord said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord." So here we had those 3 servants who each were given a different number of talents. And the 2 that actually did something with their talents were called good and faithful servants, and were told by their master, "You are faithful over a few things, a small beginning. I will make you ruler over many things." But notice that those 2 were the ones that went out and did something with what they had. One was given 10 talents, one was given 5. But the one who had 5 talents didn't just sit there and say, well, that guy got more than I did, so I guess that means that I'm just not worth anything and I'm just not going to do anything because that guy has more. I need more before I can start. Both of those 2 servants went out and did something. Now remember, there was one servant who only received 1 talent, and he did have that mindset of, I didn't get that much, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to hide it. I'm going to bury it. I'm going to save it. And if you'll recall, the master was angry with that servant. Not with the one that only got 5 talents and only brought back 10, because the other guy brought back like 20 talents. He was given more, he brought back more. The other guy was given something, he brought back something. The last servant that only received 1 talent thought he didn't have enough, so he didn't do anything. And the master was angry with him, called him wicked, told him that he should have at least put it in the bank and got some interest. He should have done something with it, even if it was that small step forward of just getting some interest. The master would have been happy with him. But this servant didn't do anything because he thought he didn't have enough. I've only got 1 talent. I can't waste it. I don't have enough to go out and do anything with it. I'm just going to hide it. And the master was mad at him, called him wicked. And we also see the parable of Jesus feeding the multitudes. I think it was 5,000 people with 2 fish and 5 loaves. So he has just a small amount of food, 2 fish, 5 loaves, and he feeds 5,000 people. And they had extra after that. Elisha and the jar of oil is one of my favorite stories. He takes 1 jar of oil that a widow has because she doesn't think she has enough to pay her debt. She's got some debts that were left from her husband dying. And the man she owes is going to take her sons as slaves to pay for it. So she goes to Elisha and says, I need help. And Elisha says, what do you have in your house? And she says, nothing. I have nothing except 1 jar of oil. And Elisha says, bring me the jar and gather as many empty jars as you can. He even tells her, don't bring me just a few empty jars. Bring me all of the empty jars that you can have. I think he even tells her, go to your neighbors, borrow jars, get as many empty jars as you can. So she does, and Elisha, he's a prophet, a man of God, he blesses the oil and fills up every single jar that she has with oil. And she sells all the jars and has enough money to pay off all her debts, and she and her sons live off the rest of the money. So again, we have this story of, here's a woman, says she doesn't have anything. She even tells Elisha, I have nothing but 1 jar of oil. So she thinks she doesn't have anything. But Elisha, a man of God, says, we can work with that small beginning. We can work with that small amount of oil. And he does. And again, he told her, don't bring me just a few empty jars. Bring me all of the empty jars. And he fills them all. And she is prosperous and has enough money afterwards to live off of with her 2 sons. So you don't need a lot of anything. A lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of things. You need faith as a mustard seed, that least of all seeds. And you need to take action. You do need to do something. You need to plant the seed. You need to nurture it. You need to gather the empty jars and fill them. You need to take some action. So you have to do the small thing that God has planned for you. And then once you do that small thing for those 10 minutes, then you do the next small thing and the next and the next in 10-minute, 15-minute increments. So also remember that God has a plan for you. And if you're following his timeline and his roadmap, you can't fail because he's not going to give you a losing plan. So it is important, I think, to pray and to consult God with what you're going to do. But remember, don't just spend the rest of your life in prayer thinking about it or praying about it, because he does want you to move. He does want you to take action, and he will help you. So recently I'd read about, a passage, Ephesians 1:11, that I really liked. In him also we have obtained an inheritance, being predestined according to the purpose of him who works all things according to the counsel of his will. So the key words here are predestined, all things, and his will. So God has predestined all things according to his will, and that includes your life. He doesn't expect you to take huge leaps. He expects you to have that small mustard seed-like faith, that small beginnings, and you trust him to lead you to greater things. And we're not just talking about like life plans and your purpose, like this grand purpose, meaning of life type of thing. You can take these small steps for everything in your life, whether you're trying to lose weight, you're starting a garden, keeping your house clean and organized. Instead of trying to do everything all at once, just do the one small thing. Set a timer or an alarm for when you're going to start. Set a timer for your 10 minutes, and just for those 10 minutes, do the one thing. And I have to remind myself to do this when I'm cleaning my house too, because it kind of gets daunting. Like, I have to clean the entire house. And if I think of it like that often, I won't even do it, because it's like, it's just too much. I'll just do it tomorrow. Again, I'll do it someday, and that someday never comes. So what I have to do is, like, today we're going to clean this area of the house, and we're going to do it, all of it. And then the next day we're going to move to the small section, and the small section, and the small section. So that by the end of my 4 days or whatever, then everything's done. Ideally, I would maintain it, but I'm still working on that part. So, point 1. Most people think that dreams require huge amounts of time, because we imagine that we have to have these dramatic transformations. And a lot of times what we see, in media, social media, kind of reinforces this all-in thinking, like we have to have these big dramatic things. We have to quit our job and start a business, and that's the only way to be successful. But that just isn't really true. You don't have to do it that way. You can shift your thinking from this We have to do everything, total life overhaul, all in, all or nothing. Shift from that to making small, consistent progress, ideally in these 10-minute per day windows. Point 2, these small pockets of time do add up. So just doing 10 minutes here and there actually will lead to success. And it will actually be easier to maintain that because you'll be getting into a habit of it. It'll just become habit to do your 10-minute, action window every single day. And then you'll just keep doing more and more, and hopefully you'll find even a little bit more time here and there. So consistency really matters more than the intensity or the grandiose size of your change. Just small, consistent steps, that makes the change. So again, try to look for 10-minute windows, maybe before everybody wakes up and your day gets started. Lunch breaks, driving to and from work. If you're on public transportation, you can maybe put some earbuds in, be listening to a podcast or a YouTube video on how to do something. Or just some encouragement, like find some motivational speakers that help you kind of get out of that thinking of, the kind of lack of resource thinking. So again, you can, if you're trying to write something, maybe you write just one paragraph or one sentence. Maybe you just send out one email to a contact that you're trying to work with. Just research one idea. Don't necessarily research the entire, plan of how you're going to completely tear up your entire backyard and reform it into a lush tropical garden. Maybe just look at one thing. What kind of plant will grow here? Just pick one plant to work with. One idea. Point 3, you don't need perfect balance to begin. You're probably never going to have a perfectly balanced life, especially if you're kind of an overthinker like me, or if you're on some level trying to procrastinate. You maybe don't realize you're not trying to, but that's kind of the subconscious block, is that you're trying to not really go through the work. You're always going to find something. You're going to find some reason why you don't have enough time, or why you don't have enough money, or you don't have enough this, you don't have enough that, or why that person over there can do it, and since I'm not like them, I can't do it. That comparison between you and whoever else you see that's going to be a downfall. I think I talked about it in an episode already, but if not, we'll talk about it again, about comparison, because that is really detrimental. Because very often it's an unfair comparison, and it just keeps you stuck. So don't wait for this perfect balance of life. And often that is kind of like a tool for avoidance, because you're like, well, I just can't yet. I just can't now. I can't do it right now. Maybe later, maybe someday. You're never going to have that perfect balance of, work, life, family, responsibilities. Life's always going to be kind of messy, and there's always going to be stuff going on. You're going to have to learn to work with it. And again, that might mean getting up a little bit earlier, or finding some other time, maybe on your lunch break. Find something to do. Most people have a 30-minute lunch break. Maybe take 10 minutes of that to go research a topic, or whatever it is that you're going to do. Set up a website, look into something for those 10 minutes, or go for a walk, for 10 minutes of your lunch break, or on if you have another 15-minute break during work, maybe go for a walk on that time. Okay, so for this week, your homework is going to identify one 10-minute pocket of time. And again, we've talked about this 10-minute action window before, I think in a previous episode. So this is going to kind of keep coming up, throughout this podcast, because I think you can find one 10-minute pocket of time. During that 10-minute time, take one small action that is connected to this dream that you're working on. You can brainstorm some ideas of what you want to do or what might come next. Journal about it, write things down, research something, record a voice memo, work on whatever project it is just for those 10 minutes. You can set a timer and just work on it, whatever your project. Writing, drawing, painting, digging up weeds, whatever it is. And schedule this 10-minute action window, again, ideally every day. You'll schedule 10 minutes, but if not, at least do it once a week. Make an appointment in your phone, your calendar, write it on a sticky note, or 2 or 3, and put them where you're going to see them. And get your family involved too. Tell them that I need this 10 minutes. Can you please just give me the space, the 10 minutes? That's all I ask for. And set alarms and timers to remind yourself the appointment's coming up, or when the 10 minutes is over. So just really get in the habit and really prioritize yourself for these 10 minutes. and ask yourself, what could change in my life if I stopped waiting for more time or more resources and started using the time that I already have? And again, if you are really concerned, like you just can't, you think you don't have the 10 minutes in a week, contact me. You can email me at hello@zecharia.com. If you're in the Facebook group, you can post a message there. You can DM me. Get in touch with me, and I will work with you, and we will find 10 minutes a week for you to work on something. I promise you have it. You might have to get creative. You might have to get up a little bit early, or kind of start, doing some double tasking where you're working on your dream, you're walking, you're doing something while you're watching TV. You got to kind of get creative, but I will help you find those 10 minutes if you need help. Please reach out to me. Please do not let this be what stops you from working on your dream, saying you don't have enough time. All right, to recap, you do not need a completely different life to begin. 2, small pockets of time matter more than you think. And 3, consistent small action creates momentum. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I know it ran a little bit long. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. Please follow the podcast, leave comments, reviews. It means a lot to me to know if this is really actually helping you guys or not. Join the Facebook group, sign up for the newsletter, and let me know if there's anything that you need from me. You can always contact me. Go to the website, zecharia.com. All the information is there. And I appreciate you guys listening, and I hope you will find time to work on your dream this week for 10 minutes. Let me know how it goes. All right, thanks, guys. Bye. Hi, friend. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may want to get inspired to start living their dream? Also, please leave a review wherever you're listening. It lights me up to know that this podcast is helping you. Take a step forward today. It doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be done. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Bye.